set up where it's gonna go real quick.
Okay. Okay, now you're recording. Okay.
Right now, let me just make sure recorded stuff.
Yeah, make sure this is gonna save.
Everything's in the file, so we should be good. Alrighty.
I don't even know how to do this anymore. It's been so long.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining us on, are we starting a new season? Are we gonna say it's another season? Or are we just gonna be like,
yeah, let's just start a brand new season.
Welcome to our new season of, what are we doing? The Be More podcast.
Oh my God.
We've been here. I am Brittany.
I'm Maria. And today, I think we're just gonna catch up.
We're just gonna dive back into it. It's been an interesting month.
It's been a long month than some, right? I didn't know we were gonna have seasons, so this is brand new.
Everyone needs it's like you don't plan on having a break, and then the world's like, your life is just like, oh, well, nope.
Mm-hmm. Look, it's a fresh start, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the last time we uploaded, well, okay, let's back up. We did film an episode, but technology was just not on our side.
Yes. Yeah. So if you listen to previous episodes and you're like, oh, wait, what happened to the episode where we were going to meet Brittany's fiance? It happened. We did it. It's just there's no proof of recording of it in existence.
We have proof because we lived through it, but
that's true. And technically, we do have proof that it happened because I have the recording. I just can't open the file for some reason.
I don't know.
So it did happen, but we'll do that again in the future. We can't see it, and it didn't save us because it went well. That's why.
Yeah, it was
a shit show. It would have worked great, and
right.
It would be all over the internet right now.
I mean, with anything, I'm gonna blame COVID for all of this.
That's fine. That's easy enough.
Because if we did this in person, it would have been fine.
Yeah, that's the easiest
scapegoat.
Yeah, to point at for sure.
Let's see. Well, alongside of that, you moved in the midst of everything.
Part of the issue.
Yeah, that was also a thing that happened.
Part of the onset of break season change. Yes, I now live in a new place.
How is it?
It's lovely. We really like it.
That's good.
All of our stuff just fit here.
That's
to a T. So it was like a meant to be situation. Cats are happy. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
All good stuffs.
Yeah, and you're closer to me, I think, so.
Yeah, I'm in not even 10 minutes from you now. So once I actually can do all this in person again, it'll be super, super easy.
Seriously. Have you been going out? I'm just curious.
Out how?
Just out. I don't know. Just going because outdoor restaurant seating is now outdoor. You go out and
Not really. No. I mean, the only thing that's somewhat normal is going to camp and being around.
Oh. Okay.
They have to be around people.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still ordering in. We're not going out and eating.
Okay. Because I've gone out a couple times now. It's the weirdest thing.
I can only imagine, man.
Yeah. And I'm back in the office a couple days a week actually.
Oh, I saw it on your Instagram story.
It's I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand being here for so long. And only 5 people show up in the office every time I'm there, so it's not even. Huh?
So it's a desert.
Yeah. So and I'm super productive because it's so quiet and there's no distractions of
well, that's good.
Whatever. So, but even that is so weird because I'm wearing a mask all the time. We have hand sanitizer everywhere. Clorox wipes and stuff. So, but it's weird. It's weird. Also with the restaurant situation. It just seems weird. Also, it's so hot. You don't even want to go out. Don't even bother.
It's so not hot. Even that's why we're just let's just get takeout and bring it home.
You're not missing much.
There's a solid restaurant right down the street from us.
Yeah.
But yeah, they all have their tents out, and it's been sad. I've seen a lot of businesses that don't have tents, that can't get tents, that have had to close their doors. So it's unfortunate.
It's sad, but yeah, I would. It's so hot. It's fine. Not just
trust me.
Takeout.
I'm out there in it all day. During
Yeah.
it's hot.
So you're back at camp?
Yep.
How's that? Like, how many people?
It's like we're at probably half of what we normally would be at, and probably like a third of what we would be at in staff.
Okay.
So
Is
it's
it social distancing?
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the guidelines are doing like they're doing a great job with guidelines. Like it feels really like I don't want to say it feels comfortable. It still feels uncomfortable, but like
Yeah.
it feel unsafe or like concerned, and like we have a lot of stuff we have to clean, and we have to yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
we're constantly cleaning the office, like whatever we touch.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely different than the way it normally was run, but it is probably the most normal feeling thing for me.
Yeah, because you're out finally, right?
Yeah, because like I get to be outside, I'm around people I know, I get to have interactions with people.
That's what I miss is just like interacting with like my coworkers and stuff. So being back in the office is like a blessing.
Yeah, so like it's not
ideal. Like it's not.
we're experiencing. Yeah. Thank goodness. Yeah. So there's that, and that's good.
It's like so sad that like COVID is still a thing, especially in this country with the way that it's like being handled. It's so annoying.
It's like not gonna not be a thing.
I know.
Like it's never not gonna not be a thing. It's just like the choices, like the whole thing has been handled has been
awful.
Yeah.
Here, I mean, like I read a statistic yesterday where we have like 4% of the population, but it's the same thing with like 13th. Like we have 25% of like COVID people with COVID. I'm like, that's annoying. Or people that have died from COVID, something like that.
Yep. But I don't believe I don't believe that's happening because of COVID. I think that's happening because when you look at the scope of like the American lifestyle, like on top of like health concerns and like taking care of ourselves, we probably fall at the bottom. So like we're just leveling out because that, you know what I mean? Like it's just bringing to light how terrible our lifestyle habits and like choices are. Like we
goes back to the system. It's so bad.
And tries to cover it up.
Yeah.
That's just our country. That's what we are known for around the world is not having like good health, like not having like the health.
The best health.
Yeah, not having the best health care aside from what we have in like the medical practices we have, but like everything about our healthcare system is about dealing with the issue after it already comes. We don't deal with preventive medicine. We don't deal with holistic medicine. So like, what do you expect to happen?
Right, I agree completely. And like,
I don't just blame COVID for it. You know,
I blame everything around around America right now. But the president did finally wear a mask a couple weeks ago. He's like 4 months too late, but like, I mean, I guess. Like, what can you say? Like, what do you say, like, after you saw the image? Like, I was just like, this is annoying.
But now, of course, after they're starting to come out with, like, information where they're saying, like, well, now we don't know what the masks are doing. I'm just...
Really? I didn't see that.
I'm so over it.
I'm
tired. The amount of stuff that comes out every day and that everybody claiming that it's the right thing. And it's like, just do what's right for you, but just, like, don't be an overt jerk about it.
Right. Agreed.
If you don't feel good, stay away from people.
Agreed. Like it's so simple.
Yeah, like don't sneeze in people's direction. Like it's just all basic. And I keep thinking about like what was happening in Europe and like the way that they've been dealing with it and the way that they've let people build up their own immunity to it and like the way, but then again, like you're looking at a country that has way better, like they eat better. They have way better lifestyle habits. Like you can't take any major sickness that attacks the immune system and let it go rampant in a country that has major issues with immunity and health and lifestyle habits and not expect it to go this way. I just don't understand. I don't
well,
know. I'm so over it.
The way that I'm like perceiving everything is that they're just banking on a vaccine, which is why the government has been buying millions of dollars worth of medicine, which is a testament to like how we deal with health anyway. Like you said, like it's after the fact.
what is a vaccine going to do?
I mean, it mitigates the risk, right? Like, there's a
Does it though?
I mean,
The flu
it gives people some sort of hope that there's a cure.
How do you come up with a vaccine for something that can mutate? There are so many strands of
Flu.
right. Like, literally, okay, so right, you're dealing with the flu. There's a percentage of people that get the flu shot and get the flu because of it. There's a percentage of people that get the flu shot and then get one of the other strands of the flu, so the vaccine for them. So it's like, it's almost like but again, like if we don't say do nothing to change your lifestyle and actually take care of yourself, but get the vaccine and then get mad when the vaccine doesn't work. Like you can't, the vaccine's just gonna become another Band-Aid. And like when
that's how we are in America.
That's oozing and infected, a Band-Aid's not gonna do anything for it.
Yeah, but that's just America. That's what I'm saying. This is how my perception is, that they're banking on a vaccine.
Like I hope that the vaccine, the people who are immunodeficient, the people who are elderly or have major issues, I hope that the vaccine can help them. But like, in my perspective, what is a vaccine going to do for me?
In the long run.
It's the flu shot and get sick. So like, on the flu shot in years. Now, I mean, and I think it's interesting how people are pulling out like if we didn't get the polio vaccine, we'd still have polio. That's fine. But like polio, you can't
still exists.
Go to the flu. Like, how are you doing that?
Also, polio still exists. Like, there's a polio outbreak in the Philippines last year. So like, it's still around. So is the Black Plague. There's a case about the Black Plague like in China, but we also have a vaccine for that. Like, these diseases don't go away.
Well, that's the thing. That comes down to like the overarching, like, humans are invincible and like trying to battle all of that.
But that also
when the reality is like we're overpopulated and like this is what happens to species that overpopulate. Is it unfortunate and sad and like a major human crisis? Yes. But
absolutely.
If you come into this with like the thought process of like we are like you are the sun, like it's literally going back to that whole planets and revolving around the sun BS, like humans are not the sun. We've taken a lot of things. Like there has to be something that keeps us in check, and like we don't get to regulate that. I'm sorry, we just don't get to regulate that. And is it unfortunate? Isn't it sad? And is it like ruining things for a lot of people? Yes, but at the same time, this again, the state of the way we live and the state of the choices we've made have compounded over the years. Like we are not faultless in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like we also are not gonna make it instantly better.
No.
I'm so over the human complex.
You're just over it.
That I'm just like
you at this point it's like you just gotta do what you gotta do and like fuck everyone else. They can ruin their lives.
It is what it is. And like you literally
unfortunately
day by day, and there are things that are really unfortunate and there are moments to be super grateful for that, like, you know, you'll get a blessing, but like
yeah, I mean this whole pandemic thing is
about it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean COVID has just like, it's just annoying. People just annoy me now. I'm like, why don't, like, this could have been done months ago if y'all just wore a mask and stayed home, but because of like the selfishness of the American population, like this is why it's still going on. Because like some countries like don't have COVID anymore, and if they find a case, like the person that has the case is gonna just self-isolate and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But because there's still so many states now, like especially the southern ones, that like are now, like Florida at one point last week or the week before hit like 10 or 11,000 cases in a day. Like that's insane.
Which is interesting though, isn't it? When we like so much of a majority of like the elderly population of our country is known to live there.
Yeah, so it's like all the older people probably,
so
but not
like,
even because it's also the younger people that are partying.
Right. Well, that you got hotspots for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
I'm also at a point too where I feel like I don't trust any of the information that's coming in, and like I'm literally just gonna like delineate and like decipher on my own, like make my own judgment on stuff. And like that's because I think the only reason why I've gotten to that point is because I see it in the decisions that I have to make on the day to day. When I go to work
Yeah.
I watch somebody or I see somebody and I'm like, okay, does that person look well? Should I interact with them? Like how you have to, it's kind of really showed me like the only person you have control, regardless of what's happening around you, like the only way that you only have control over yourself minute by minute and like the actions that you take. So like talking about the grand scheme of things just evokes fear in people.
Yeah.
Because people hear about what's going on in Florida and immediately think like Dan and I were in ShopRite the other day and there was a lady in the aisle and another woman like walked past her like going the wrong way on the arrows and this lady flat out was like, way to go the wrong way on the aisle, thanks for giving me COVID. And Dan and I looked at each other and we're like started laughing. Like I didn't know. I was like, did that really just happen?
Of course it did.
That's where we are now. And I was just like,
people are blaming other people.
I'm over it. I'm over it. I guess the biggest perspective that this whole thing has solidified for me is that like you can't
control other people.
No, but you can't control anything. Like if
that too.
Get you, it's gonna get you. Like we've seen people who seem remotely healthy who do whatever they can. Like, and it's the same story with cancer too. Like,
yeah,
you cannot control. You can't control, and like there are so many things like we're trying to control the best way we can based on the science of something that we still don't know that's still changing, and it just becomes so much information, so much overwhelm. I'm like, that's how I literally feel like if something happened, I'm at this point, I'm full on like if something happens, you handle it the best you can when you're in it, but like you don't have control over it.
No.
What are you gonna do?
Look, my mom says it all the time, like, and she works at a hospital, and she's seen the worst of the COVID pandemic back in March, but she's like, it doesn't discriminate. Like, she's like, it is what it is. Like, if I go, like, I have a plan. Like, if you go, like, you should have a plan. Like, she doesn't know, and it's just realistic. Like, it's not being pessimistic or optimistic. It's just like realism.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's shaking people at the core the most. Is they have to come to terms with the fact, again, like we are a culture and a society that really, really wants to have control over things on every level. And like you have to face the fact when something like this happens, you don't have control.
No.
That's a big thing I saw, like that's another thing too. It's like we want to take control over things when it's already too late. Right? Mm-hmm. Which is why like I've been so, even before this, was like very adamant on like wanting to take care of myself and like my health is a priority because I've seen my family like the genes that I got, I've seen my family members like there's a plethora of health issues through my family, and like there a lot of lack of understanding of the body and a lot of lack of self-awareness and just kind of taking whatever's given to you and not doing anything about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
right.
Or not knowing what to do about it. And we're very fortunate that we live in an age where we can get a lot of information and there's more research and understanding. So I always try to take care of myself and try to understand the best ways to do that, because I've seen people go through that process, and like watching my dad like going through his cancer process, like when you're already at a point where like you're told that you have something, right? Like, where you're told the news that you don't want to know, it's already too late in a sense, right? You can't do anything to prevent it when you have it.
No, that's not prevent. Now it's like trying to stay alive.
Right, and then you have to fight harder. You're fighting hard, like right, like you're walking up the hill and it's barreling down at you versus like you meeting it at the bottom and trying to push it up. You know what I mean? Like you're working against so much more momentum that's coming at you. I don't want to ever be in that position, but that's why I constantly do like the little things of effort to try to take care of myself and try to stay centered on that. But it comes, and this is like in mental health too, but it gets to a point where whatever's coming at you, you can't control if something's going to drop on your head also, or if another rock come up. You can't control all of that. But like in my mind, I think to myself, you know, if I'm doing something, just a little bit of something to help like sharpen the saw, like have you ever heard that term?
Yeah.
Like sharpen the saw, like to take care of all of those realms of my body, then like I believe that I would be better off to be able to handle whatever comes at me. But at the end of the day, I also have to realize that like I am this part of this big thing and I don't get a say.
No, you don't.
And is like a huge thing that I feel like people are starting to realize, which is why they're like holding on to whatever they feel like they do get a say in, and we're like related to COVID anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
yeah, like, what is there more to say at this point, right? Like,
yeah, that's literally it. This is now turning into a fight of like, on some subconscious level, because of the amount of deaths that we're hearing about, and like that being the center of what COVID conversation is, it's literally just trying to fight death, and people are not realizing or dealing with it in the way of like openly being able to talk about it. So everything else that's coming out of it is like a coping mechanism for not wanting to do that. And
yeah, which brings out the lack of mental health awareness.
Totally. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but so I'll just be very vague. Like, I know someone who, like, through all of this, like, ended up killing themselves.
Yeah.
Because they were so isolated, and, like, I heard some information about, like, their background experience. Like in a normal setting, no one would have known.
Well, because there's a lot of high-functioning mentally ill.
Oh, yeah.
Hello? Like,
two of which are sitting on this right now. So it's like it really becomes like I had somebody bring up to me the other day about what like I post on Facebook, and like just like somebody like I don't interact with a lot, but just was like, I see you post on Facebook and I really like your perspective on things, like how positive you try to stay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm at a point now where I realized like that, first of all, if I'm contributing anything, there's a lot of everything else. Like if I'm going to contribute anything, I want to contribute that. But like right. I'm at a point where I realize like that is all that matters.
I agree.
Right. Because if you can't find a reason to do that, to like get up in the morning, to find a good perspective, then like if you're not in a good headspace, you've already lost.
If you're not in a good headspace, it's hard to get out.
Right. Lost. So like I try to tell myself like there are things, like I said, like those boulders come, and there are things that feel like,
yeah, and like
have those moments, but like I don't want to already lose.
I know.
We all lose. We all die. We all lose. So it's like how do I win before I lose? That's where I'm at.
Maybe you should switch your perspective. I mean, losing isn't dying. Like dying isn't a loss. You know.
No, that's true. I mean, I guess it well, now we're going to talk about what people believe, but you're right. It's loss of what we have for something else, right? We just don't know.
Right. It's the unknown that people are like losing against. Like they don't know what the unknown is. But
and I guess that's a good point to make too, right? Like losing isn't like
I lost at a video game. Like that's a different loss than like
yeah, like it's a defining losing as like I don't have what once was, not as like losing as like
I lost a bet, like
right, like losing as like it being the end all be all or like a terrible thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, losing something isn't always it's gonna bring a lot more like struggle, right?
It's a lot more emotional pain, obviously.
Right, but it's not like
but it's not the end of everything.
Right.
Yeah, it's not the end. It's not the end. But,
which is like a delineation to make. Just like with like failure. Like you're failing at something doesn't mean it's over. It only ends with
correct.
Like, failure is your things are gonna change, but if anything, you're still winning in a sense because if you're learning something from your failure.
You're learning something, right? Even with losing. Even with someone's even with someone's death or dealing with death, it's a loss of what was, but not
that topic in and of itself. I feel like
that topic I can
that has been the way that I started to know that I was changing myself and my perspective on things was because this is like a sad statistic, but we lose like 1 to 2 people in our family who like in my immediate family over the past like 10 years, we've lost at least one person.
Okay.
Like that. And
that's
like
an average. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in the last year, like it was like my dad's stepmom and then my uncle who I lived with. Or that was actually 2 years ago now. I can't believe that's insanity. Time flies. You start to realize like what people aren't, you're like, thinking that that's perfect, that person is gone, but like you like, I started to realize that there's a lot more to celebrate and like what they had and what they lived, like, you know, like that. I took that perspective, like it's super hurtful and like sad that they're not there anymore, like that's the part, like, that's the lost part, like that's what causes you to grieve, but like there's so much to be celebrated in that moment too. Once you get through that like process and you understand that process better, like you can see it differently, you know.
I agree. Like I lost my dog and I lost my grandma within 2 days back in December. I shut down, like, and like I flew out to the Philippines like 2 days after, like it was just like it was quick. But then once I got through the whole process or whatever, now it's just like a celebration of what was.
Yeah.
Which is such a relief to figure out throughout all this, because, and also I think this is also an upbringing of like the Catholic religion, the fear of death, and like
that's an upbringing of being a person. But no, you're right. I mean, you're right.
But like you know, like that religion,
you're gonna do it wrong. That's definitely you only get 2 options.
Yeah, but like, you know, that religion, like it's like do whatever you can when you're alive so you don't fuck up your afterlife. And like the fear of like dying and being like but like we're human, like we have to fuck up, like it's not like we can't be, we're sitting all the time. Have you heard the myths that we're all like, have you heard like the whole like the conspiracies that like we're in hell right now? Have you heard those? No, but I believe it. Like being a human, like the human is hell. I've never heard that, but I can believe that. Well, I mean, it makes sense because sometimes I come home and I look at my cats and they're just like laying around and they're just chilling and I'm like, man, how is this with the how is this superior? Capabilities that I have, like, how is this a scenario that we're in right now? Like, how is this right for me? But also, like, the conspiracy theory of like we're in the Matrix, that I love. I haven't like full out. Like, I love how like being like in a simulation, like the simulation theory, like I just like, it's so baffling. Like we're like a really bad game of The Sims. Is that what you're? Yeah, like someone is controlling our whatever, and like kind of like how Matrix is, like deja vu is like a glitch in the system. Gotcha. Like all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Deja vu is one I have yet to grasp, like to come up with a mental reason why this is happening. The amount of times that I get it really is disturbing. Maybe it's like your past life. Like something where and it's things that it's like super random things. And it happens most often when like my like when there's multiple things calling my attention. Okay. And then like when how do I give an example of this? So like something's happening, I'm having a conversation, and like at the same time, like I something hear else happens, or like somebody touches me, and then I hear like something else out in the distance. The moment that my attention like switches from one thing to the next is like where I stand there and I'm like, wait, this just happened already. No, I think that's how it is for me too. Like I'll be talking to someone and then they'll either say something or something else catches my attention. I'm like, wait. Like you've been in that moment before, and your attention's been on the other thing and not what you're on right now, and you're like, wait a second, should I be paying? Like it's super weird. It's like a video game where it's like if you press A, it's this, but if you press B, it's this, and you just took the other way. That's what it feels like. Like you rewind and you just hit the other button. Yes, that's literally what it feels like, and you're like, wait, was I supposed to do that? Because then it's like it feels like a weird. It's I don't know. Deja vu is a weird one. But I get a weird one too. I get way too many instances of it. And then there's sometimes when people will say something to me and then I'll literally stop them and be like, and this is not obvious sentences, obviously, because like when you can tell what someone's gonna say, like someone will come up to me or like go to say something and I'll be like, you were gonna say this. That's creepy. That's creepy. It's definitely gotten worse as I've gotten older. Maybe you're just like a psychic or something. Or like all your chakras are like open or something. Do not put that on me. Thank you. Nope. Maybe you're just so in tune with your like, stuff going on there that I don't need. Thank you. Keep it. Never mind. There's also like, it's not called deja vu, but something with like your dreams happening in real life. Something else.
Those are fun. I'm trying to figure out how to master like lucid dreaming.
I was just gonna ask, have you ever lucid dreamt?
A couple of times, but not like I wish I could do it like more actively.
So does it count if I know I'm dreaming? Like that's like, I know if I know I'm dreaming, I'm lucid dreaming already? Is that what counts?
I think the only way it counts is if you can control what happens in it.
Because like I always know I'm dreaming. So I don't know if that counts as lucid dreaming. Like I know I'm dreaming within the dream.
From what I understand of it, it's if you can actively control the situation or like make a change or like
do whatever you want to do in this dream.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's the next step.
Yeah. We can sit into that. That'll be something that we can sit into and figure out how to do.
Like take a class or something.
That would be a fun one.
Watch a YouTube video and then come back with our results.
Yeah. Well, one of like Dan and I, our favorite things, I know I started this because I'm the crazy one, was like we'll wake up when we like first started living together, we'd wake up and I'd roll over and be like, you're never going to believe the crazy dream I had. And they were always like the weirdest things. And then Dan started like telling me what his dreams were. Mine are worse than his. His are like weird. His can be weird and like not really understanding or like have some kind of funny humor to them. But like some of mine, I'll tell him and he like looks at me and like gets really quiet. And I'm like, I try to warn you all the time that like the things that go on in there, like the humor that I have and the sense of like
dark
I have is because there's a lot going on in there that I have to keep control.
You know, it's all just based on like, you know, the trauma, the repressed trauma. That's how your brain's trying to function.
And then the worst part is like I think to myself like, oh, I should write this down. This would be such a good like movie, story, book.
You're never gonna write it down.
I can't remember it again until
It's
I get like you know how when you watch a show at the beginning, it's like here's the recap before you watch the next episode. I can't remember my dreams at all when I'm awake, and then the second I lay down to go to sleep, it like plays back in my head again, and then I have a new dream and I can't remember it ever again. We gotta figure out before we die, like not we, because I'm not doing this, but someone has to figure this thing out more before we die because.
Like remembering dreams?
Just it, period. Like someone just has to understand the mind better.
Well, it has to. My thing is, or my theory is that it has to do with like the trauma that you're not processing.
Oh yeah, the things that get like to the same extent of like the way you digest food, right? And I can use this as an example because
you're
literally, like when something can't get broken down or like it doesn't get what it needs, you can't deal with it. It gets
yeah.
And then you deal with it every time you try to every time something goes through, like that becomes your issue.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I feel like your brain is the same way. When you hit like neural pathways that like are somewhat connected to an area of trauma, you have to pass through it. But if your brain is actively trying to protect you from those things because it was traumatic, you're not going to actively embrace the fact that you're hitting it while you're awake. You're going to go to sleep, and then your subconscious is going to travel through it again.
Right. And also it affects, I mean, I know this firsthand. Your memory just like is shot. Like the only times you'll ever remember shit is when it's late at night and you're already delirious and you're like, oh, that's a thing that I remember now. And like, do I want to process this? No. So you go to sleep and then you dream about it and then you're fucked. Like
talk about trauma. One of the most traumatic things for me was realizing that my trauma was the reason why I had such bad memory.
Me too. When someone was like, you have bad memory because of this, and I'm just like, and I had to process that for a second. I was like, fuck. I was like, God damn it, you're right. Like that makes sense.
I used to get so frustrated.
With your memory? Yeah.
It wasn't until we went to college that I really started to know something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, like, stress doesn't help, right? Which, like, we know more of. So I always
stress doesn't help with anything.
Right. I always
mental, physical, emotional.
Chalked it up to like, oh, you're stressed out. And mind you, like, my memory is way worse when I'm stressed out. But we were in a class, and like music was like there was like different music playing, and people were like all messing around. And like all of these songs were coming on from like our childhood and like songs that like we all used to dance to. So like they would all start like going over the choreography of what they did, remembering steps, like to whole dances. And I was standing there and I was like, I don't remember it. I don't remember anything. Like,
right.
That people talk about and like moments of my childhood, and I had to start like realizing like I don't remember my childhood.
Yeah.
I remember the experience. I remember things that people told me. That's when I started to realize too, like that I was so much of the person that I was sculpted by other influences because I couldn't actually have my own memory about who I was. That shook the crap.
Does that annoy you? Like that annoys me to my core. Like I'll be talking to like my sisters or like Ashley or like, you know, or like Monica or like whoever. And then we talk about like, you know, our like high school years to like college, and I'm like, I really couldn't tell you what you're talking about. Like you could what?
I was talking to somebody who went to high school about that, and they brought something up, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like Kate will be like, oh, do you remember that one time that we were all hanging out and like you did this? And I'm like, you could be lying to me, but I'm gonna trust that that's what I did because I have no idea. Or she'll be like, do you remember this from yesterday? I'm like, no. It's gotten to that point too where it's like my short-term memory is bad.
That's the scariest part.
Yeah, like I'll remember things for work because like that's work, right? Like you'll remember things that you need to remember, but when it comes to like you personally, like as a person, you forget.
The thing that scares me the most is that the second that you add on any type of stress,
shot.
Right. Like this morning I had clients this morning. So I remembered it's like one of those weird things, and I'm exhausted too from the amount of hours that I'm working right now, but like you know that it happened and you can like you can see it in your head and you know that you were there, but you can't see clearly like the moment to moment. So I'm at my second
log in here.
Yeah, like, and it's like it feels like you blacked out. Like that's what it feels like, and you're like, I didn't drink anything. What's happening?
Yeah.
I was at my client's house and I'm like starting to unpack stuff, and I was like, oh my god, did I leave my computer there? Because I could not remember my computer closing it and putting away. Now these are things like you need to be actively, right? You need to be actively paying attention to remember, but like that's a thing that like I should be able to say and immediately like, oh yeah, I should be able to go back through and be like, oh yeah, I can see myself doing that. I definitely did that.
You black out.
I was like, holy crap, did I leave my computer there? Had no recollection. It was bad.
Because you black out. I feel like there's so much, and this also goes back to there's like I don't remember, an article or something where depressed or anxious or mentally unwell people don't just rewatch the same things over and over again because they can't physically, or like even like they just can't possibly think of like consuming more media, like a new like TV show or something. Like there's no space in there. Like every time I want to watch a new TV show, I'm like, I don't want to. Like that's just too much work because there's so much space that's like you're not processing up here that you have to let go.
Yeah.
Like before you get into like a new book, like even finishing books, I'm like, I can't do this. Like this is too much for me, and it could be like the easiest book in the world. So instead, like you go back to like
you start to read, and you're like 20 minutes later, you're like, oh god, wait, didn't I just read that line?
and then you feel like you blacked out because you're like, I was literally just standing here for 20 minutes trying to read this one page.
Yep.
Yeah, and like it's so bad. Like, it annoys me every day because like sometimes like I think I said this in a prior episode. Like I don't remember faces or like thing. Like if I don't see you or see like or like hear you, I forget in my head what you look like or you sound like. Like there's so much in here that needs to like go before I.
That's the hardest, and that's what I mean. Like I want people to figure it out more because when we talk. When it comes to our bodies, right? We're getting nerdy for a second. When it comes to like your physical body, oh my gosh, you have to read.
Oh my god. Speaking of space, she's gonna make me read a new book. Like I have the fucking space to read this.
Oh crap! You know what I just realized?
What?
I have to get it from her. So there's a book that. Oh my god. See, talking about memory, I can't remember what it's called. It literally was just in my head when I was looking for it, and now it's gone. Oh, it's called The Anatomy of the Spirit.
Okay.
And it was the book that I chose to read because I'm a nerd during like yoga certification practice. And it talks about how the experiences, like you just like your brain does when something happens, like you try to store it somewhere, right?
Yep. I'm Googling it.
Same thing.
Okay.
Like when you have an emotional response to something, it stays in, like, it's related to chakras, obviously, but it stays in whatever relevant like energy channel to process it and deal with it and let it go.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh my god, I like
chakras, man. I need to know more about that shit.
What?
And this is so chakras, like this is so nerdy and childish, but I just finished Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Love it.
Like through and through.
Huh? I think I saw that you were watching them. Or like,
and like, I mean, like it was on when we were kids, so like I know the story, I know how it goes, but like seeing it from start to end with no, not waiting a week after, like, all that stuff. Chakras are like the main thing. It's all spiritual. The whole show is just a spiritual journey.
That's all of it. Like that's what literally anything that comes down to like people having humans having a superpower aside from like superheroes, things that people are capable of, all have to do with that.
Yeah.
This book, the stories that this woman is she is like a healer who works specifically in chakras, but she's also like a medical doctor, so she like brings
okay.
And like there are parts of that book that I read and I was like, yep. Because I could feel it while she was talking about it and like the different areas and like where like that book told me why I had issues in my stomach and it made complete sense to me. And like that's where I started realizing like, what are we doing about this? Connecting like each one of your I guess we're talking about chakras now. This episode's really interesting. Each one of your chakras is like connected to a different I guess a different like level of being.
Okay.
Each one of them connects to like a different part of your life, like a different like your lower part of your body, like where I have issues is like called like your root chakra, and it's connected to like your roots, like your history, your childhood, and like the things that you experience. And like I kind of and I'm learning about this and I'm seeing like the correlation she's making and all the people that she's seeing and she's treating with these areas. I was like, well,
fuck, yeah.
And like all like this and like I like oh god, I can't even tell you. And like why I used to get migraines, like just the craziest correlations. You should look into like Ayurveda and like all of that stuff. You'll probably love it. But I love that book because it started to make a lot of connections and made me realize like you don't just experience stuff and then it's over. Like your short-term memory, your body, every single thing that you do, your body
remembers.
Because that's what we do. Unless you actively engage in a way to let go of it.
And that's the whole issue.
Like you are a storage system. Like that's literally what your body is. And you actively take on everything. But like we learn about so much with our bodies with input, right? We always talk about input of stimuli. Like we always talk about like input of movement and action and like even working out,
exercising. Yeah.
We're always talking about what you put in. And we don't talk about like the filtering process, number one. And we don't talk about the like exporting process.
Right. Like you have to, things up here need to be gone.
It's funny because it's basic physics, right? What goes up must come down.
Yeah, I guess.
Basic physics.
Yeah. But no one talks about it like that in the human
to ourselves.
Body.
No. But I mean it's redundant. Like it's so stupid that we don't talk about it that way because like what you eat has to come out. What you put in your body has to come out. Like why would it be different? And it happens in our animals. And we see it in kids. We see right away whatever happens to a child, immediately we see some kind of outpouring result from it.
Right.
We don't see what is results. I don't know, man.
Because people just repress their shit.
I'm done. Let's go backwards. Let's Benjamin Button it. I'm done.
Let's just go back to children when we would just cry whenever we got hurt.
Right.
And not repressed it. But like that's just the way that culture is, right? Like it just boils down to culture.
I know. It's very sad. I wish things were different. Well,
people just need tools to figure out their shit.
Yes.
Right.
I hate that it always comes back to like the conversation where
Mm-hmm.
So tired of people, like, hearing people tell me that, like, if you don't like the way it is here, then go somewhere else and see how terrible it is there. And I'm not negating the fact that, like, we do have it way better than a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not ungrateful for what we have. But at the same time, I'm not going to stand here and be like, we're perfect and that we have no right to, like,
no.
these things. Like,
yeah.
Are we very fortunate that our basic needs are met? Yes. Compared to a lot of other places around the world, like, the basic needs in the hierarchy are not met. Very grateful for that. Want to make that better for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We have the ability to work at so much more of a detailed level of addressing that, and we've gotten so far away from the fact that, which is unfortunate and not true, because at the same time, really not everybody. A lot more people who actually don't have their basic needs met in this country. We're a contradiction. So it's,
yeah.
I don't want to leave. I'm not ungrateful for what we do have, but there's so much more work to be done, right? And like, thankfully, like, my hope is that people are seeing that, especially with, like, the conversation that's happening about race in this country right now.
Mm-hmm. Still happening.
It begs the question, for all the areas that we've advanced technologically, we've still not advanced as a race.
We've only advanced economically, which isn't.
When there are so many people that are still not.
No, but if you want it just broad, vague terms, it's like economically we've advanced, and with technology and everything, like Wall Street and billionaires everywhere. That economically.
So systemically, we've advanced. Is what
yeah.
To create more that's skewed to not involve everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like, equality has not advanced. If anything, equality has been more, like, unequal. Like,
it's just, that's the part. Have you, like, the theories and, like, the sayings that are like, human advancement is going to be their demise, like, those concepts.
Yeah, always. I've heard that all the time.
Like, you watch, like, we're watching it unfold right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of sitting back, like, okay.
At the end of the day, like, all we can do is do whatever you gotta do and have the system just fall.
Right now, where I'm like, do you hear my cat in the background right now?
Which one's that one?
So this is Gunter. Wait, let me see if I can grab him and show you what he's doing right now. This is Gunter.
What is he doing?
Little boy in the world. He's a little mutt. He's very sweet. He's also the biggest derp. Like, he's derpy to no end, right? Yes. Okay. So this is right. This is what I mean by derpy. You can't even let me put him down right. This is his favorite toy. His brother, like, normal things on string, like, you go like this with it. They try to catch it, like normal cats. This mofo shoves this end in his mouth, choking himself, and then that horrid noise that you heard
was him choking.
And wait, he can open his jaw and release his jaw and let it out, but he chooses to sit there with it in his mouth and make those horrid sounds.
Why?
And no, wait, the best part is then he stands up and walks around the house with this trailing behind him doing the same thing. And you wait. Time of day to do it? 2 a.m.
What? Okay. All right. I don't understand. I mean, there's always that one.
Right there. More information needed. I don't know what enjoyment he gets out of it. I don't know. He has some weird attachment. I don't know.
We don't know.
That's what he does.
I can't even imagine him walking around the apartment with that just in his mouth.
I'll take a video of it next time. And
That's awful.
Dan, I just ignore him. Dan is repulsed by it. He literally gets so uncomfortable when he hears it. But see, no, but let me tell you though, it could be this, right? I also have this adorableness going on behind me. Do you see that under my arm?
Oh, yeah. Does she just chill there?
Could be that, right? Just She's laying on my dance journal of medicine and science because she's a nerd too. But that is life of cats.
Multiple. Anyways.
Big segue, sorry. I couldn't ignore.
We couldn't talk about humanity anymore.
Yeah, and I couldn't stand the sound. I had to bring it up to see if you could hear it and deal with what I deal with. All right, well, what else do you want to talk about?
I don't know, what else has been happening? Let me think.
Think about it while I pee, though, because I'm not going to make it.
I'm literally just scrolling through my Twitter to see what I tweeted the past month, see if anything happened to me. Apparently, I've just been playing. There's a new video game that I've been obsessed with on PS4. So that's boring. But then I tweeted about how the United States Postal Service may be downsizing. So
Cool.
So that's gonna suck.
Yeah, so this will be fun.
I mean, that's what because like there's no one's supporting them, especially before the 2020 election. How it's all gonna be through mail.
That was part of the reason why my dad wanted out when he did, because he was like, "This isn't gonna go well."
Yeah, really? That's what he said. I mean, makes sense.
He could see, like part. I don't know if it's still a thing because my dad's retired now, but part of the Postal Service was doing Amazon's customer service.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like my dad, well, once he switched to like the call center, right? Once he stopped like being a postman, he was in the call center for the post office, and on I don't remember, I think it was Saturdays, they were paying out to have them do the call center for Amazon.
Really, I didn't know that.
Or if it was just where he was, but
I knowing Amazon now, they probably outsourced it to wherever,
Yeah. I know, but it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. Again, especially because the 2020 election is supposed to be all mail-in.
Oh yeah.
For the most part. For the most part.
But I was saying I was okay with paying the $1 that they charged me to change my address at the postal service.
Yeah, I don't mind. You know they have merch. You know the postal service has merch. You can buy clothes from them or whatever.
Look, that might be my father's Christmas gift. Remember when you did that?
What?
I heard about the election stuff.
What stuff? That it'll be mailed in or that? Yeah. Yeah, which I don't mind. But I don't mind, but also it makes me uneasy that the Postal Service is going to downsize, because then how are we going to get the votes in on time?
Who's going to bring in to manage it and exploit it?
Right.
I've been doing a mail-in ballot since I was in school.
I can see that. And it's worked. Obviously, it's worked. But I think because of the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. And it's definitely, and I like it too because you get a sample ballot sent to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see, like that's what helps me too, is I can clearly see who's on the ballot and then I can do my research.
Yeah, it works.
So like it definitely is, it's good because it creates this level of like information.
Yeah. Because now it's literally on one piece of paper.
And like sometimes when you get the influx of like the commercials and all the marketing stuff that comes out, you're like, what is that person running for? Like, how do I figure out where they're, like, you can actually clearly see it and you know exactly when you're going to do your own, like your actual official ballot, like you know where you're filling stuff in. So I definitely like it better. And it does seem, I mean, there is an envelope inside of envelope, and if somebody hands it in for you, you have to sign their name. Like there has to be like I don't remember what they call it. Like a delivery, whoever the deliverer is. So like I like the whole system of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like it too, and I think it's an easier way to vote anyway for the people that can't get to voting polls because of their jobs or
My only thing that I wish they would do with it is like the only information that they put on the actual like the sample ballot that they sent to you is like the slogan of who the person is. And then like you have to do a lot of research. Like you have to be active to do a lot of research about the person. And like I know a lot of them have like their own websites and stuff now, so it's easier.
Like, do you wish there was like a pamphlet of each, like a 1-page spread of each person's like highlights?
Make it a website.
Yeah.
Have a QR code on it, or make it a website and put the link on it, just so that like it was easier to do. A pamphlet, I knew, like, they'd be like, well, that costs money, and like, fine. But like, you could easily just have all of the people on the ballot just pay a small fee to get a website running for a couple months. It doesn't cost anything. You know what I mean? It's nothing what they're spending. And then people can get like a little blurb of information, or you can put a hyperlink to their other, like, just to have that's the hardest part with the influx of information that comes in about all these candidates and who you hear from and whatever. Like, it becomes so overwhelming. And I know from conversations I've had, especially with people our age, that's part of the reason why they're like, it's too much.
It's so much.
Who to vote for, aside from the fact that they feel like their vote doesn't count.
Oh, that's a whole
another story. But like, if there was I don't like situations where people are spoon-fed things, but of all of the times to spoon-feed somebody information so they're well-informed and encouraged and motivated to make a decision, like this is the time to do it. So like, I think that would be a good way to do it. Like, if you don't want to print out a pamphlet and spend money and waste the paper, create a site, put a QR code on there, give people the link, allow them the option to do it, to do their due diligence. But like, when you look for stuff online, you find a lot of information just Googling somebody. So if they were to actually give you the
biased information,
to say like, this is a short blurb on what I stand for and what these are my major things that I want to focus on, and then here's the link to the rest of my information. That would make it like a more of a streamlined process. Is it more? Totally, but it's like, you want people to get involved, like, you need to give them some type of encouragement, because the whole government system does the best that it can to make people, for being a democracy, we do a really good job trying to keep people out of it.
Yeah, I think it's the voter suppression, or like just the lack of voter confidence.
Yes, and engagement, totally.
Engagement, yeah, because I think the statistic was that in 2016, like 46% of people that were eligible to vote didn't vote or something. It was like like almost half. Like, it was crazy. So I think I think it goes back to when people are like, my vote doesn't count. Like, it's that whole spiel, which it does. Period. Like,
yeah, right. Like, and that was one of the biggest things that I've enjoyed learning about, is like, again, same theme. This might be the theme for our episode. Like, if you're already looking at it at the umbrella overarching level,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to look at it from lower down the ladder. And like, that's where the difference is made.
Yeah.
Because if we would have, I mean, it's just such a system to really be able to, like,
I would say it's a fucked up system.
The ways that we're going to make it better, right? We can't change what's happened because it's an effed up system. Like, the ways that we can make it better is where we start at the smaller level and we build from there.
So go vote for your local.
For so long, when people who are public figures can just throw a lot of money at the issue and just hop in whenever they want to.
Or don't throw a lot of money in the issue, aka Amazon with everything.
Right. And then still have a lot of say in the issue. So that's fun.
Yeah, so that's also fun. Everything. Nothing works. Nothing works anymore. Just break it all down.
It was intended to work.
So break it all down so we can fix it.
It's a lot of broken pieces. It's like, you know those like art projects where people take like pieces of broken glass and just smash them more so they turn into something else. That's our system.
A mosaic, is that what it's called?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yep.
Look, I don't know.
You're an actual system of any like functioning parts. It's just a mosaic of a lot. And
so something has to work.
Every once in a while, we get to refill one of those little areas with like an actual functioning piece or like an actual functioning person.
And then 4 years later, it just gets ripped apart again.
I don't.
Look, the last thing I'll say about voting, fucking vote for your locals. Like, start there.
Vote for something.
Yeah, vote for something.
It literally, just go vote for something.
Like, if we want to talk about our basic rights as citizens, like, that's the most basic of basic, is voting.
Which is ironic, right? Because we have the basic vote. One of the things we do have compared to all the other countries in the world is the right to have a say. Yet we have the health system and the health capacity. I can't even, whatever. important.
Everyone's vote is important. Go vote.
Focusing on what's important. Your health doesn't matter, but go vote.
Literally, go vote. Go vote and then it'll work out.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
If you are not familiar with sarcasm from Maria and I, welcome to it.
Yeah. Have fun with this. Is there anything else?
If you want to know what Maria and I are doing,
Yeah.
trying to abide by COVID guidelines, and we believe in the COVID guidelines, and we are going to vote, and we're going to do whatever we have to do. And it's
as citizens
involved in this process.
As citizens of this country, we're abiding to all the social distancing rules, or at least we're trying to do. I mean, I will attest that I have gone out.
Yeah, but I mean that's
okay.
Go
with masks. Look, I have masks on. Like it's not like I'm out and like not with a mask on.
Go out and do your stuff and stay within your circles and like just.
And if you're sick, stay home. If you can vote, go vote. If you can vote and don't vote, then let me know why. I want to know.
I'm pressing the replay button. Oh yeah, can you tell us more? Like,
I just want to know.
Because I hear Dan and I have these conversations a lot because like he is engaged, but like could be another level of engaged. And it's interesting to hear people's perspectives. So I really want to know. I
want to know too. I mean, I have friends that don't vote.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And I'm just like, why? And like, and half the time it's like, well, my vote doesn't count. I'm like, but it does. Like,
I think that comes from like a bigger stemmed issue of like part of the reason of like why people don't use their voices either. You know, it's like a bigger overarching issue.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, if anyone wants to talk about why they don't vote, I'm so curious. I don't judge you. Like again, I'm not gonna judge you. I just want to know. Like
I feel like that too. Like so much of this podcast is when we say like wanting to, like our whole point of like having the title that we have would be more as like it is possible to do it and do it together, right? It is possible to be understanding of each other and see people's perspective if they don't agree with you. Like Maria and I have a lot of our thought processes in common, but a lot of our opinions can be very different. A lot of the way we handle things can be very different. But like a lot of our values fall on the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, like that's a part of like a lot of humans, we do have the same values. We just look at them a little bit differently. And a big part of us making this podcast was creating a space to be able to talk about those differences in a good way and have something and like be able to understand each other better, because otherwise what are we here for? Like on a big scale, on like a right now on this podcast. What are we?
Agreed.
Okay, see, look, we're not bad at this. It's like right.
Oh, yeah. It's. I mean, I wasn't really worried. It's just been a month.
Yeah, we had. I mean, this is nothing compared to like the years that it had gone to before we just started having.
That's true.
Like this, so that was nothing. But are we good? We good? Are we ending it?
I think we're good.
All right, cool. This is gonna load and it's gonna be fine.
Oh
Thank
my
you
God.
so much for joining us on this episode of the Be More podcast. And I don't have fun pulling a theme and or title out of this. I don't know what to tell you. Welcome back. Guess we're still in COVID. Guess what?
We're still doing this online.
Not a lot has changed, but a lot has changed. So enjoy listening to this, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Okay, bye.